Imagine being at a racetrack, with a runner poised at the starting line. His muscles are tense, his focus sharp, and his heart pounding. As the starter pistol cracks through the silent anticipation, he explodes into action, each stride pushing him forward with an unstoppable drive. We've all witnessed such scenes. But have you ever wondered what fuels this drive? It's not just physical strength or intellectual capacity, but something much more profound and intangible, a force within that propels us forward, often referred to as internal motivation. This very internal motivation is the fuel that keeps our engines running, the spark that ignites our passion, and the compass guides us towards our goals. It's what pushes us to strive for more, to overcome hurdles, and to achieve what may seem impossible to others. Now, let's apply this concept to a real-life scenario. Picture a young entrepreneur from a disadvantaged background. Society expected little of them, yet they had a burning desire to succeed. Much like our runner, their internal motivation propelled them forward against all odds. They didn't have access to the best education or a silver spoon, but they had a dream. Each rejection, each failure, each hardship they faced became a stepping stone, a lesson, a motivator to work harder. They didn't need external validation or approval to keep going. Like the runner's drive to cross the finish line, their drive came from within, from their belief in their potential and their unwavering determination to succeed. Their internal motivation propelled them to heights that others could only dream of, proving that it wasn't their circumstances, but their attitude and drive that determined their success. And so, this who started from the bottom emerged successful, not because they had more resources, but because they had more resolve. They tapped into the power within, the power of internal motivation, and used it to pave their path to success. Much like the runner who races to the finish line, our ability to achieve resides within us, not outside. It's not about where we come from or what we have, but about how we utilize our resources, how we fan the fire within us, the fire that drives us to strive for excellence, persist against all odds, and make our dreams a reality. But what exactly is happening inside our brains when we feel motivated? Well, let's dive into the fascinating world of neuroscience to find out. Motivation, in essence, is all about chemicals playing a symphony in your brain. And the maestro of this symphony is a neurotransmitter called dopamine. Picture this. You set a goal? Maybe it's to finish a project or to run a marathon. Your brain, like an eager orchestra conductor, releases dopamine. This dopamine acts like a spark, lighting up a pathway in your brain. This pathway is called the reward system. The reward system is a group of neural structures responsible for desire, pleasure, and reinforcement. It's like the applause at the end of a great performance. When you achieve a goal, you feel good. That feeling is your reward system in action, bathing your brain in satisfying dopamine. But here's the twist. The dopamine doesn't just flood in when you achieve your goal. It's also released in anticipation of the reward. That's why the thought of crossing the finish line or submitting that project can feel so exhilarating. Understanding this can help us harness our own motivation. By setting achievable goals and visualizing our success, we can stimulate our dopamine production and activate our reward system. Armed with this knowledge, you can start to influence your own levels of motivation. What about those times when motivation seems impossible to find? We've all been there, haven't we? Those moments when the mountain seems too steep, the journey too long, the obstacles in our path might seem insurmountable. Fear of failure, lack of self-confidence, the sheer magnitude of the task at hand, all of these can stifle our motivation, making it seem like an elusive dream. Let's take a moment to consider the story of a famous athlete, someone who faced obstacles that would make most of us quiver, yet they persevered. This individual was born into a family of modest means, in a neighborhood where dreams often took a back seat to survival. Despite such challenging circumstances, a passion for their sport burned brightly within them, a flame that refused to be extinguished. This athlete had every reason to give up, to succumb to the fear of failure, to let their lack of self-confidence hinder their progress. They had every reason to believe that their dreams were too big, their goals too lofty. But they didn't. They chose to face those obstacles head-on, to use them as stepping stones rather than stumbling blocks. They trained relentlessly, pushing their body to its limits and beyond. They faced rejection and failure again and again. Yet, with each setback, their resolve only strengthened. They learned from their failures, used them to fuel their motivation, to drive them forward. And guess what? They made it. They reached the pinnacle of their sport, achieving their dreams against all odds. They transform their obstacles into opportunities, their fears into fuel, their doubts into determination. Their story serves as a powerful reminder that obstacles are not always impediments. Sometimes, they are the very things that propel us forward, that shape us into the individuals we are meant to be. They are the crucibles in which our character is tested and tempered, the challenges that bring out the best in us. Remember, every obstacle presents an opportunity to improve our condition. So, the next time you're faced with a daunting challenge, remember this athlete's story. Embrace your obstacles, for they are the stepping stones on your path to greatness. So how can you tap into this power and boost your own motivation? Let's start with setting clear goals. Imagine you're on a road trip, but you have no destination in mind. You're just driving aimlessly with no idea where you're headed. That's exactly what it's like when you don't have clear goals. You're just going through the motions without a sense of direction. Now think about how different that trip would be if you knew exactly where you were going. You'd have a route mapped out, and every mile you drove would bring you closer to your destination. That's the power of clear goals. They give you a direction, a purpose, and most importantly, they give you motivation. Next, find your why. This is the driving force behind your goals. It's the reason you get up in the morning, the reason you push through when things get tough. Think about someone like Elon Musk. His why is to make life multiplanetary. That's a pretty big why, but it's what drives him to keep pushing forward, even when faced with seemingly insurmountable challenges. So what's your why? What's the bigger picture that your goals are helping to paint? Once you find that, you'll find an endless source of motivation. Lastly, celebrate your small wins. Too often, we're so focused on the end goal that we overlook the progress we've made. Each step you take towards your goal is a win, and it deserves to be celebrated. Think about a marathon runner. They don't just celebrate when they cross the finish line, they celebrate each mile marker they pass, because each one is a testament to their progress. It's the same with your goals. Each small win is a step closer to your end goal, and celebrating them keeps your motivation high. Remember, motivation isn't a one-time thing. It's a constant process of setting clear goals, finding your why, and celebrating your progress. And the beauty of it is, these are all things you have control over. You have the power to boost your own motivation, to keep pushing forward even when the going gets tough. These are tools you can start using today to fuel your motivation. Now, you understand the importance of motivation and how to harness it. But what's next? The next step is to put this knowledge into practice. You see, understanding is just the first step. It's what you do with this understanding that truly matters. Knowledge is like a seed. It only grows when it is planted and nurtured. So, how do you nurture this knowledge? By applying it. By taking the principles we've discussed and integrating them into your daily life. It's about making a conscious effort to change your habits, to shift your mindset, and to embrace the power of motivation. Start with just one of the tips we've discussed in this video. Maybe it's setting clear and attainable goals, maybe it's finding your why, or perhaps it's learning to embrace failure as a stepping stone to success. Whatever it is, take that step. Implement that tip in the coming week, and don't be discouraged if it's hard at first. Change is always difficult. But remember, each step you take is a step closer to becoming a more motivated and successful you. And here's a challenge for you. After you've implemented this tip for a week, reflect on the changes you've noticed. Did you feel more motivated? Did you accomplish more? Did you feel happier, more fulfilled? If so, then you know you're on the right track. And don't stop there. Keep going, keep learning, keep growing, because motivation isn't a one-time deal. It's a constant journey, a constant process of growth and improvement. The journey to a more motivated you starts today. You have the knowledge, you have the power, and now you have the challenge. It's time to take action. Remember, the power to achieve is within you. You have everything you need right inside you. And with motivation as your driving force, there is no limit to what you can achieve. Now, go out there and make it happen.